Hello, good morning, participants. I'm delighted to be here with you all. I hope the last session introduced you to communication. Now, today's date is 14th August 2020, and today's topic is communication. Right? So, now we are going to see what more communication has in its store. Okay, I'm going to share my presentation, and we start off with recalling and revising whatever we did the other day, so that it's easier for you to recall all that we did. And I have answered most of your queries, not most, almost all of them. And the PowerPoint that you have requested will be shared at the end of my session. So you don't worry about that. That's number one. But that doesn't mean you will not take down notes. Okay. So here we go. And communication chapter 1, session 1, that was on 12th August. We spoke about question paper pattern, right? Total marks for 40. It has 5 parts. Each part is for 5 marks, and that's 25 marks, that's for the bigger answers. The rest 15 marks will be for grammar, vocabulary and short answer questions. In a moment I will check if the question paper is uploaded. Otherwise, by the end of the session, I'll show it to you. Now, ground rules, this is something that I make it very, very clear, make it very important for all of you so that the classes are very effective, that you learn something and I know how to tailor my session to make it effective for you. The first one is have your notebook and pen to take notes. That's important. Have your study material with you while you are in the class. So as and when you get doubts, you can post them or note it down in your notebook and post them when I give you a break. Do the activities as per instructions during the session. I have a few activities related to the chapter. I would want you to do the activity so that I know that you have learnt the chapter well. As and when you have doubts, keep them posted or post them when you get your breaks. In case, this is a request. In case I miss some of your questions, please post them again so that I don't waste my lecture time hunting for the question. That happened last time. Please don't jump the chapters. Let your questions be relevant and related to the chapter that we are doing right now. And of course, any doubts regarding the answers and the question paper pattern will always be answered. Please provide your honest feedback so that we fine-tune our sessions to make them effective for you. It's important to fill the feedback form, and I would request all of you to do it. In this session, what's that we are going to learn in this session? By the end of the session, you will know, this was 12th August session. So we are only revising now and recalling whatever we did last time. The definition of communication, types of communication, verbal, non-verbal and visual, non-verbal, paralanguage, body language, appearance, aesthetic appearance and symbols, formal and informal communication, written and oral communication. So this basically was an introduction. That doesn't mean it's not important for the exam. You have several questions from this part of the session that has been frequently tested in your past question papers, and therefore it makes it important. So this is communication and the definition of communication, because I did make an exercise there outside. I have to check whether it's uploaded. Now, definition of communication, this will be for 1 mark or 2 marks, depending on the allotment of marks in your whole question paper. Now, the definition of communication is a process of exchanging information, ideas, thoughts, feelings, and emotions through speech, signals, writing, or behavior. So that's communication. It is an exchange of information, not information coming from one side. It has to be both ways. It's not about information. It's about your response and feedback to whatever you have heard from the speaker. That makes communication complete. In communication process, a sender encodes a message and then, using a medium or channel, sends it to the receiver who decodes the message and after processing information, sends back appropriate feedback or reply using a medium or channel. So by medium or channel, I mean English. It's the language. Or if it's a signal, it's through illustrations. Whatever. So this is definition of communication, and this question is important, has been tested several times in your past question paper. Now just see if you can match these. I'm going to give you 2 minutes time for you to match. This is on non-verbal communication, which comes under the broad categories of communication. This is to revise and recall whatever we did the last session. This is on non-verbal communication. So I would quickly want you to match it. Yeah, you must have finished. And I want you to stick to the time so that have a countdown so that you finish it quickly. 3, 2, 1. So body language is facial expressions, gestures or stance. Paralanguage, expressions used to communicate, they need not be necessarily words. Aesthetic communication is music, dance, drama, all that. Appearance is well dressed to suit official purposes. Symbols, religious or status or ego building symbols. So that's about non-verbal communication. What is paralanguage? Now I'm going to give you 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. You have 6 blanks and I'm going to give you 2 minutes on that. Quickly fill it up. I'm going to give you 2 minutes. Do you have your pen and paper by your side? Now quickly pick it up and start filling up the blanks. Okay, that's 3, 2 and a 1. Now, here you go. Check your answers. See if you have written it the same way. If you haven't, write them there. And here I give you 2 minutes again. So, paralanguage is the way you say something more than the actual words used. It reveals the intent of the message, the voice quality, intonation, pitch, stress, emotion, tone, and style of speaking. Communicates approval, interest, or the lack of it. So that's about paralanguage. I hope you've memorized that because this question again has been tested several times in the past question papers. Okay, now we begin our session today, and from this slide it will be session 2. Today is August 14th and it's communication again, the next part. In this session you will learn formal communication and informal communication, network in communication, and if time permits we will also cover effective communication. Now, what's formal and informal? Formal is the office communication. Informal is where you are not being judged by anybody. It's a friendly chat with either friends or relatives. Now let's look at what are these. So formal communication has 3 categories in it. One is vertical, one is horizontal, one is diagonal. By this very word, by the very meaning of the word, it says vertical. So it comes from top to down. So the boss dictates, the employee does it. That is vertical. Horizontal is between 2 people across a table at the same level. I am saying this in very, very simple terms, but we will look at the definitions in a moment because in your answers, you can't write the way I am saying it now. Because this is just to explain to you or to put it in very, very simple terms so that you understand what they mean. But when you write formally in an exam, it has to go as a definition, which we will look in a moment. So vertical is communication top down between the boss, and then from the boss to the employer comes down. Horizontal is across the table between two people where they communicate at the same level, maybe from the same department or maybe from the same project. Diagonal is where there are multiple channels where people across the table can discuss, suggest, organize, take a feedback, and that is diagonal communication. Now let's see how they go about. Now this is formal communication completely at the workplace. There is no doubt about it. And that's business English that I always refer to. Now before I go on to the the patterns of communication, I'm going to give you the sources from which you can improve your business English, because this was a very frequent question in my last session where most of you asked me about sources as to how to improve your business English. Now, this is a disclaimer I want to make here. These are websites, magazines, and newspapers that I have used. Not that I am associated with any of them, right? Now, sources for developing language skills. Newspapers. Look at the kind of newspapers. These are global newspapers, not just related to India alone. And most of them are free. If in case you find it a payable site, then you can just look at important news which is always free. Okay? It will ask you, please subscribe and the payment is only this, or you get a paid view kind of things. You don't have to waste money on that right now. You can look at free newspapers that will be available free of cost. If it is not for free of cost, then it naturally there will be important news that they publish for advertisement sake. Even that will be enough. That will relate to these newspapers. Financial Express, Financial Tribune, the Wall Street Journal. You can quickly copy and I'll give you 5 minutes on that. The Wall Street Journal, Economic Times, Mint India, Business Standard, the Australian Financial Review, Financial Chronicle, the Hindu Business Line. And then the magazines. Harvard Business Review is supposed to be very good. You know why I recommend these? Because the language that comes with these papers and magazines are edited and they are just perfect. And they will be very, very close to the language that is there in your course books across the CA curriculum. Therefore, reading these will become very, very, very important for you. It will just be like, you're reading the course book, the textbook to answer your exams. It will be that easy. It will complement your understanding of the core subjects. So magazines, Harvard Business Review, Money, Bloomberg Business Week, Forbes, Wired, Female Founders 100, Fortune, The Economist. Now this list is not complete, this list is not exhaustive. These are some of the newspapers and magazines that I use and therefore I recommend them. I pick up words and phrases from these to use in my writing, and regularly reading or making it a practice to read such stuff will also help you understand your core subjects for the CA itself really well. You won't have a difficulty in understanding the concepts, nor will you have difficulty in answering the questions. Therefore, reading such newspapers and magazines will help you in the long run. Now, these are websites that will help business English. I watch them regularly. You don't have to watch that for the whole day. Maybe, 5 minutes, 10 minutes a day, even that will do. But how will you learn English from there? You watch it quickly in your pocket notebook, note down words and phrases that can help you answer well. I'm not talking of difficult words and phrases. I'm talking of words and phrases that you will like, you will want to use but you've never used. There are plenty of words and phrases like that. Now, Forbes, CNBC, Bloomberg, Breaking News, BBC, One Stop English, British Council, Learn English website. Now, British Council website, One Stop English, BBC are free. Forbes, CNBC, Bloomberg probably goes with my, the channel subscription. So you can check it, but still you will have certain things free that go with these websites, which you can always watch on a daily basis. So make it a habit to see, to watch, to note down things that will be important for your CA course and see that you build on them. Every day you learn one word a day, one phrase a day, and you will see it works like magic. Now that's about it. I have given you the resources that I use. You can copy them. I give you, maybe I'll go back to the site to give you another 2 minutes to copy it because I forgot about that. And I'll give you another 2 minutes to copy down the websites too. And then I'll move to my class. Yeah, so you will copy down these websites too. There are plenty more. You can Google business English websites and you'll get plenty more. But just check if they are authentic, if they are attached to a university, a good one, and also if they are free. Because right now you don't have to spend money on browsing. Yes. Yeah. Nothing has been visible at all so far. Oh my God. Oh, okay. 1 minute. Let me check. Let me check what went wrong. Usually it's there, right? Shareable. Yeah. Now fine? Yeah. Oh my, now? No? Why doesn't it? You want me to minimize this? Yeah? Yeah? Mm-hmm. No. Yes? Can you? Can you? Okay. Yeah. So I go from the beginning again. Yeah. So this is revision time. Okay. And this is session 1. This is a question paper pattern. I said total marks for 40 and 5 for each part, and you have 5 parts, which is 25 marks. The rest is 15 marks, will be for grammar, vocabulary, and short answer questions. And I will show you the sample question paper as I promised. So, the ground rules. I am not going to repeat all this again because I have said this very slowly for you to understand and assimilate. So in this session you will be learning, this is last session where you learnt about communication, types of communication, non-verbal, formal and informal communication, written and oral communication. I am quickly running through this because I do want to get into my... So this is definition of communication itself, and this is an exercise. The non-verbal communication categories: body language, paralanguage, aesthetic communication, appearance, and symbols. So this is definitely, I gave it to you as an exercise. Now, this is the definition of paralanguage, and now we move on to today's session. Today's session will be on formal communication and informal communication, network in communication, and effective communication as much as time will permit. Now, this is office communication, formal communication, and that's business English too. Now, sources for developing language skills, I'll give you 5 minutes time to, copy this down. I did give you, but I don't know, the screen wasn't shared, so I come back to it again. You may copy it very quickly, or maybe at the end when I share my PowerPoint, you can take it down. But, okay, you can take screenshots also. Anand, I have this black thing screen on my slide. I want to remove that. How do I do that? Can you?
Hello.
For you, it's not visible, but for me, it's there. I tried shifting it, it's not moving. Not doing fine, okay, I'll manage it. Okay, so this is the websites. You can take a screenshot and may refer to it later. Now, I move on to formal communication. Right? The communication pattern. So these are communication patterns and comes under formal communication. The first of it is the vertical communication. Vertical information can flow from top downwards in the organization. Data that is collected flow up to the top levels of management for review and decision making, while instructions and orders are passed down from the management seniors to the subordinates for implementation. So that's how an organization works. Data that is collected is handled by the top levels of management for review, and decision making and instructions are given by the seniors. It passes down from the management to the subordinates, and that's vertical. It's quite understandable that vertical is up and down. It's not sideways, right? So you just have to remember vertical information can flow only from top down. Although information and communication happens, information and data happens from the subordinates to the higher ups, instructions and decision making are always from the management, especially the seniors, to the subordinates for implementation. Okay. Now I want you to fill up this. I'll give you another minute to read through this. I'm going to give you a minute to read through this, and then you will do the exercise. That's just making sure that you remember them. Read through this 2 times, maybe even 3 times. I will give you a minute to do that, and then you'll do the exercise. Okay, now fill up this very quickly, and I give you 2 minutes time to fill it up. Recall what you've read and try to fill it up. Three, 2, 1, and that should have been done by now. Okay, so that's about vertical communication. Now, this is horizontal. There are 3 types I told you: vertical, horizontal and diagonal. So we've done vertical. Now this is horizontal. Horizontal communication that involves communication between two people. So we are not talking of juniors, seniors, subordinates, bosses kind of things. We are just saying it's communication between two people in an organization at the same level. So there is no hierarchy there. What is hierarchy? The top, then it's according to rank. Hierarchy is based on the posts and the ranks each individual holds in an office. So this is horizontal communication doesn't, really depend on hierarchies. It's at the same level. Communication here happens at the same level. For example, the managers of a project in a company may hold a regular daily, weekly or monthly meeting, discuss the progress of the project. So we don't have any junior, senior, management or subordinates kind of stuff. So horizontal communication in an organization involves communication between two people at the same level. So that's what is important. I give you a minute to read this and then you have an exercise. Yeah, 3, 2, 1. And here you go. Please fill this up very quickly. I hope all of you have your pen and your notebook to write down. So this helps you in a way while you do the exercises. You take down notes and you also do the exercise. So it serves two purposes. Yeah. So you just have 1, 2, 3 blanks. I'm going to give you just a minute for that. 3, 2, 1. And we move on to the next one. Diagonal. Diagonal is cross-functional, where you don't have a hierarchy. It's between employees at different levels of the organizational hierarchy. It's described as diagonal communication, where employees at different levels speak across the same flow. Diagonal communication is increasingly common in larger organizations because that's where they need to discuss with a whole group of people who are involved, say, in a particular project or in a particular assignment that happens at different levels. So people pitch in to say, oh, this is right, this is work, this may not work, this is not the right thing to do, kind of things across the flow, and there is no hierarchy. Diagonal communication is increasingly common in larger organizations. It reduces the chances of distortion or misinterpretation because it happens across the floor and there is no intermediate person who will say, this is what the boss said, this is what subordinates feel. There is no intermediary person. So issues are thrashed out across the floor, agreements and disagreements happen across the floor, and therefore it reduces the chances of distortion or misinterpretation by encouraging direct communication between the relevant parties. For example, a junior engineer reports directly to the general manager regarding the progress on the project. He doesn't have to go to, a higher up who's in between the general manager and the engineer to convey the message. He can simply walk across to discuss or report about the progress of his project. Diagonal communication is most commonly found in large companies which have a number of employees. Now, if we need to name a few big companies like that, maybe Tata's, Reliance, and all the MNCs, of course, they have plenty of employees who work at different levels with different projects and on global assignments. So, it will always be good for them to discuss issues across the flow. So that's diagonal communication. So these are 3 patterns of communication. This is called patterns of communication, right? So that's vertical, horizontal, diagonal. Vertical, I said, is top down, is between the boss and his subordinate. Horizontal is between two people at the same level who communicate. Diagonal is multi-level, and people pitch in at different levels, pitch in, forgetting their hierarchy, to in the interest of the project, to see that things work out well. Now, I give you 2 minutes to read through this, and then you have an exercise. Quick. Yeah. So that's going to be 3, 2, and 1. Now you will complete this exercise. This is quite a big paragraph. So I'm going to give you 2 full minutes to complete this exercise. Quick. I told you this such exercises serves 2 purposes. One is to take down notes. 2 is to memorize it as the lecture happens. So it's going to be easy for you to study for the exam. And these are tested questions in the past question papers, and therefore they become important. Uh-oh. Yeah, so that's 3, 2, and a 1. Now, we move on to the next one. Here again there is another exercise for you. I want you to match these very quickly. I give you 3 minutes time because you have 3 different points. Match them so that your understanding is clear. And after this, I'm going to come, to check your posts and your questions if at all you have. If you have any doubts, you may post them after you match this. Yeah, done. So now I'm going to come forward. I'm going to stop sharing. Yeah, and let me check your questions. And can you post the link where I can open the question? Yeah, I need the link. Yeah, thank you so much. I don't know. I am not getting in there. Click to copy. Oh, okay.
Just click on the link. After that, there is an admin user admin password.
Yeah, I did copy, but it isn't opening. Yeah, that's what I did. This one. Because the other day I just had to click it and it was there, but today it doesn't open like that. Okay. Yeah. Also get this black thing out, right? Because it's not visible. Yeah. Yeah. Can you? Do I log in? Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. So I start looking at the questions right from the beginning. Um, PPT is shared. Yeah. So I'm unable. Check PPT is not being shown. Your PPT. Oh my. Yes. So, Dhruv, you have asked me whether you should read business English for intermediate. It's not about intermediate or final. It's about if you have to go for a job, if you want to do business, then it's business English that will help you. So you don't have to think of foundation, intermediate and final. It's not for exam purposes. It is for exam purposes too. But it's a life skill that you will find it very, very useful because all of us need to earn our bread, right? Grapevine communication, yeah, we'll come to that. Don't be in a hurry. Please share slide to us. Yes, I will share the PowerPoint out at the end of my session. Exact channel on AAR so that I could follow it. In FM, it is Money Matters. I don't know if it relates to the Madras channel, but you can find out. There will definitely be a similar one in whichever place you are in. Yes, that's very good. Arshad Khan involves conferences. Visual communication involves conferences, webinars. But there again, somebody is talking to you and you are responding, right? So that's not visual communication. Webinars and conferences are not visual. Which one I will start first, law or English, so that I can make the 3 hours effectively. See, whichever you are comfortable about, you feel you can finish English quickly and then law, if I would say it right, where you have to read and write. Here, if you have the flair for the language, then you can just finish it off quickly. Yes. Is the exam tested some? Yes, grammar will be definitely tested, but that will depend on what grammar is given in your study material. Is there internal choices? You have very limited choice. Yes, you do have choice, but very limited. This is Siagar. Diagonal communication involves communication between people at different levels, then it is not following management hierarchy. Big companies do not follow hierarchy. It is to facilitate, competencies and skills at the same level, irrespective of their seniority or ranks, for the benefit of the company and the project. So, big MNCs don't follow hierarchy. Diagonal communication is between two people at the same level. Say two people working in the same project, they discuss things, they communicate at the same level. There is no hierarchy there. Is there any negative marks? I think this question is repeatedly coming. You don't have negative marking at all. Please answer. See, this is again Ganesh. Please post your question again. What is negative impact of diagonal communication? Negative impact, you don't get to know the feedback of the other employees regarding that particular project that you're discussing. Bhumika, yes, this paper comes with law. Vertical, upward and downward, horizontal communication between two parts of the equal caliber. Diagonal is cross-functional. Which are free news channels? BBC is BBC, British Council, One Stop English. They are free. One Stop English is free now because of the COVID. BBC and British Council English, Learn English is free always. Explain diagonal communication again. Diagonal communication is between two people, A and B, who work in the same project. That is diagonal. I'm sorry. Diagonal is several people talking across the table of a similar project or of the same project that they work with. And this is how big companies work. I repeat, diagonal communication pattern is by several people across the table without any hierarchies or ranking. This is for the benefit of the project and the organization. Okay, vertical information can flow upwards, downwards, horizontal, yes. Visual communication, oh my. No, I think I have answered these questions. Yes. Is there any negative? No. Weightage for this. See, you don't go chapter wise for the weightage. Communication chapter will have either write short notes on or the definition or what is whatever. So that will be between 1, 2 or 3 marks. Don't go by the weightage. Then you will have the tendency to, learn one better than the other. That's not the way. Communication is the most important chapter for you, for your CA course itself. Therefore, it's important. Right? You don't have to, as far as English is concerned, you don't have to go by the weightage of the chapters that will be allotted in your question paper. All that you need to remember is that every topic that's given in your study material will be useful up to your final examination and even afterwards. Even after you finish your final examination, you will have to answer entrance exams maybe, answer your interviews, and therefore this English becomes important for you. So don't go by weightage of every chapter or how many marks are allotted. Every page cover to cover in the study material will be useful for you even after the foundation exam. That will help you with your intermediate exam, inter exam and your final exam. Look at it like that. A particular channel can be common to verbal or non-verbal. Yeah. Verbal, non-verbal, they mix up both. It's not completely non-verbal, then we are dumb, right? Explain vertical network of communication. A senior giving instruction to his subordinate. That is vertical communication. Your audio and video are mismatched. What is the scope of communication in law? See, as I said in the beginning in the ground rules, please don't jump chapters or papers. Okay? You have any question to ask about business correspondence and reporting? Yes, I can answer you. But I don't know how I can compare it with law. The law teacher might be able to say, because she would know communication and law, right? Difference between vertical and diagonal. Vertical is between the boss A to the subordinate B. Diagonal will be A, B, C, D all sit together and discuss. To put it very simply. Why symbols are not included in visual communication? Because visual communication is much more than symbols. As I told you yesterday, visual communication is the bar graph, the pie graph, the picture, the illustration. These are visual communication which can be translated into words, into a paragraph. You look at a graph, you can write 100 words or 120 words about the paragraph. The x-axis and the y-axis and what they mean. What are the figures? What do the figures state? What does the graph say? Whether it is going up steadily or it's going steep, it's plummeting down, it's dipping. You look at shares graph, you can write a whole paragraph based on a graph. So that's visual communication. Even without saying it out, just by looking at the graph, just by reading the graph, okay, just as you would read a textbook, just by reading the graph, you can write a paragraph. So that's visual communication. Symbols are not so. What is the difference between apps for business? Shubham, I don't teach business here. I teach just business correspondence. Again, Rakshita, let me remind you, I don't want any of you to go by the weightage of chapters that's given to you. The wise one will look at the whole paper, business correspondence and reporting. That's going to be useful for your inter and your final and even after that as a life skill. So I will not answer this question as to what is the weightage of this chapter. I would rather say that you will have short answer questions from this chapter. You won't have, say, 5 marks questions from this chapter. You will have a 1 mark, 2 mark or 3 marks questions where you will write 40 to 50 words answers. I think I have answered all your questions. Yes, Kushi, diagonal communication can be regarded as a roundtable conference. Yes. But a roundtable conference is an informal situation. Here we are talking about an office situation. At a workplace situation where it's an office or an organization. Between formal and informal communication, yes, you need to be formal most times in a workplace, and informal communication happens when you are out of the office space but you are still communicating with your colleagues. And we'll come to that in a moment. Okay. Yes, Pratham, it's business law and business correspondence. Meaning of hierarchy. Sanskriti, hierarchy is the ranking. Okay, the ranking from the management, the boss, the general manager, the director, and then it comes down to the last level. Shivangi, I do make a request. Do not jump pages. Be on the same page. It's easier for you to understand. Right? You asked me what is the difference between diagonal communication and networking, star networking. We'll come to that when I am doing star network, not now. So when you jump pages, what happens? The others will also get distracted. So don't do that. You have questions on what we have done just now? Yes, I'm answering. Okay, then I'm not sharing the screen. I'm looking at the questions and answering. Yeah, I'm not sharing the screen. Yeah. We include paralanguage, but ma'am, in paralanguages we use words like oh. Then how come it is not verbal? These are called expressions. They are not, this is for Arnav Bajaj. These expressions are not called words. They are expressions. Just as we say oh, they are not words by themselves. They are just expressions. Please answer I sent 2 times. Ganesh Shankar, my God. Ganesh Shankar, Ganesh Shankar, Ganesh Shankar. I'm scrolling it. I don't know. I haven't seen his question. I don't see his question at all here. How to score well in the exam? Just follow the tips, Pratham. You will see that you're able to score well. It's a life skill. Just like trying to write well, trying to speak well. These are life skills which will be useful for your business. How much time we have to complete your English portion in exam? That we will come to when we complete the portions, not right away. Something black is coming in your video? No, not now. I am not showing you any video. Diagonal communication in simple words. Diagonal communication is just that many people or people belonging to a single project talk very freely without being conscious of their rank or hierarchy. See, for example, a candidate may be a new person in the project, and if he has a good idea, he can put it across. And that might be accepted if it is workable. That can happen in a diagonal communication pattern. It cannot happen in a vertical or a horizontal where hierarchies become important. We are just talking of that. A fresher candidate, a candidate who has joined a company very new, can suggest or can say something will work, something is not okay in a diagonal communication, which cannot happen in the other two. I have posted my query for about 9 times. Who's this? Rashi. This 9 times she's posted. Let me check. I haven't get answer for. Oh my God. I do want you all to post it even if it is for 6 times, because I will be wasting 15 or 20 minutes searching for your question. Instead of posting, I have posted 10 times, 20 times. Please post the question again. In silent TV, shows only actions. Jojo, group discussions are diagonal discussions. How can we manage time for this paper pattern? That we will discuss in the end. Especially the fill in the blank techniques. Yes. I will do more of them. Rashi, I was just going to answer you. Silent TV shows. You were talking of silent TV shows. Rashi, yes. Let me make a request to you, candidates. Please post question. Instead of saying I've done it 20 times, please post it again. Shows only actions used. Can it be visual communication? Silent TV shows, you can take them for visual communication, but that doesn't happen in a workplace. Okay? That's for TV shows, and I think the question is irrelevant here. That's for Rashi Jain. I have answered your question, thank God. Around your head, there's something black. I don't know. My coordinators there haven't said anything. Maybe I will check that. So now I'm going back to the sharing. Right? Yes. Questions are for 1 or 2 marks from this chapter. Concepts. Yes. Okay, in communication chapter, you have questions on 1 or 2 marks only. You don't have 3 marks questions, even if they are short notes questions, because past papers had short notes. Now, we are going back to my slide, right? I'm sharing my screen. Yeah. So this is what we did. We tried to match vertical, horizontal and diagonal. The answers are: vertical is information can flow upwards or downwards. Horizontal is communication between two parts of the organization. Diagonal is cross-functional communication, where across the table, employees can discuss and talk about their projects. Now, informal communication. Informal communication is casual, friendly and unofficial. It can still be at the workplace. Inside the office, it is completely formal. Coming out of the office room, even if you're going for your lunch break, or even if you're having a break in between the long hours of work, it will still be formal communication, but not so formal. Okay? So, it will be casual, friendly and unofficial, which may not be documented or recorded. Informal communication is between family, friends, neighbors, members of the community and other social relations that are based on common interests, tastes and dispositions. Information can flow from any source in any direction. That is informal communication. Now comes the most important question that most of you have been asking me. What is a grapevine communication? Now look at this. Employees in an organization interact with each other outside the formal domain. Say you are going for a tea break and you are 5 or 6 of you from an office. You go to a tea break where you will not be discussing what happened at home, what happened 20 years before. You will be discussing about your project that's coming up or has already been submitted, or something that has to be answered, or about an issue that's happening. So it is still office matter. Such communication is called grapevine or gossip in the office. So promotion is due. Who's going to get the promotion? Who's not? Who's got, a 3 on their scale? Kind of things. So it is not inside the office premises, but outside the office. But such communication is called grapevine communication. I repeat, generally informal communication means it's between family, friends, neighbors and people of the same community. But communication which is not happening inside the workplace, outside the office domain, is still communication, and such communication is called grapevine or gossip in the office. Employees of different departments and varied levels meet and discuss matters casually and informally. The grapevine satisfies the social needs of the people and helps in building relationships. It is also useful in addressing certain needs and grievances of employees. So when you talk freely away from your office domain, you also tend to discuss issues related to you, your colleagues or the projects that you are involved with. So that helps in sorting out certain issues. So what is the benefit of grapevine, or how does grapevine communication satisfy? It satisfies the social needs of the people of making friends and helps in building relationships. It is also useful in addressing certain needs and grievances of employees. So therefore, the grapevine communication becomes important, and this is grapevine communication. Communication that happens outside the formal domain, the formal, space, the office space. I give you 2 minutes to read through this. And believe me, if you are going to follow the lecture quite closely, you will find yourself being able to answer, even without looking into your study material, for all the questions that are there. So please be on the same page, reading the same things and doing the exercises as and when it's given to you. I'm going to give you 2 minutes time to read through this. Three, two, one. Now I move on. So what is grapevine communication? This is a short answer for 2 marks. You may write it now. And I give you 2 minutes on that. Quick. Those of you who don't remember it by heart, look into your study material and write. Or maybe I will go back to the slide once again, give you another minute to write the answer. Yeah? So now you will answer this. Take 2 minutes time. Three, two, one. Now check your answers. See if you've written it correctly. And this question has been in several of the past papers. Grapevine communication. Therefore, it makes it important. Now, 3, 2, 1. I hope it's complete. Now, let me run through this, the different patterns of communication before I move on so that it's easily remembered. Okay? So now, formal communication. We spoke about vertical pattern where communication flows upwards or downwards in the organization, and it is only from the senior to the subordinate. That's vertical communication. Now, this is an exercise that you should have done. Now, this is horizontal. Horizontal communication involves communication between two parts of the organization at the same level. Two people speak about the same project at the same level, and there is no hierarchy. This is an exercise we did. Now, this is diagonal, is cross-functional. Whether they are seniors or freshers, they all come from different levels and discuss about the same issue across the table, and therefore large companies prefer this kind of communication. And this is an exercise. Now we did the matching. Now here we are with a grapevine communication, and that is gossip in the office. Okay, it's not totally informal, but it's not formal too. And how is it beneficial? It's beneficial because it satisfies the social needs of the people and helps in building relationships. Sometimes it is also used to address certain needs and grievances of the employees. Therefore, it is beneficial. Now, so that's an exercise. Yeah, I give you 2 minutes to fill it up. It's the same thing on informal communication. Quick, you have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I'm going to give you 3 to 4 minutes to fill it up quickly. 3, 2, 1. Now you can check your answers. See if you've written it the same way. Done? Okay, you want the blanks again? That's just for a minute. Yeah. Now we move on to network and communication. What we have been seeing all this while is about patterns of communication. Okay, there are 3 different patterns of communication, and they are vertical, horizontal and diagonal. We also have the grapevine communication, which is although not very formal, it's still an office communication. Right. Now we move on to network and communication. You have to be very, very careful when you're looking at the question paper. You have to read the question correctly and answer relevantly. That's most important. You may be knowing the chapter very well, but unless you write relevant answers, your answers may not get marks. So, when the question is about what is a horizontal pattern of communication, okay, then you should understand that it comes under the pattern and that's not the network. You can't mix up both, right? So, categories of communication, you have visual, non-verbal. You know, if you look into your study material, it says it very clearly. Categories of communication, they are verbal, non-verbal and visual. Patterns of communication are vertical, horizontal and diagonal. Network in communication has 5 different types. It's vertical, circuit, chain, wheel and spoke and star. I repeat, network in communication is vertical, circuit, chain, wheel and spoke network and star network. Now we are going to see they also come with diagrams. So now I'm going to stop sharing and then I'm going to use the whiteboard to draw the networking for you, right? Yeah. So I'm just going to, I'm not a great artist, you have to excuse me on that, okay? But I'm just going to show you how it works, right? So this is the supervisor, okay? And this is the subordinate, okay? So, and that is vertical network. Okay. Now, you see by the arrows that I have marked here, I'm not a great artist, you might have to excuse me on that. So, it says communication flows up and it comes downwards too. But what communication goes up is the data and the details. What comes down is the instruction. What should the subordinate do for implementing? Okay. So, that is a vertical network. Although we have 2 arrows up and down, what goes up is only the data and information. What comes down are the instructions that the subordinate has to take forward or implement as per his project. Now, the next network is, this goes like this. Now, this is 1, 2, and a 4 here. That is A, B, and this is the message and this is the feedback. I'm not writing it fully here. Okay. So A sends the message, B receives it, B sends the feedback and A receives it. So this is called circuit network. Fine. This is called circuit network because A sends the message to B, B gives the feedback to A, and that is a circuit message. This is one complete network, and there is no way for the other messages or communication to come in. Now we move. This is called circuit network. Okay. Now this is called a chain network. Now this is quite interesting. Now in your question paper, if the question is on define a circuit network, okay, then you must be able to draw a quick diagram. These are just pencil sketches. You don't have to be worried about the perfection of the lines and the squares, right? Just a minute. Okay, that's extra line that has come. Okay. Yeah. 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so this is A. This is the top boss, and then B. Then it's come down. This is a chain, you see. So A tells B, B tells C, and then he tells D. And then you have here, he tells to B and E goes on to say F, and then it goes down to G. It's like a cascade. So this is called chain network. Okay? Fine. This is called chain network. Now, we still have 2 more to go, and you will see that I am going to do it here. I'll try to make a good picture of this because these are important, has been tested in several past papers. Okay. So this is called wheel and spoke. So this is A here, B, C, D, E, F and a G. Right? This is called wheel and spoke. Now how is this different? This is different because there is one center person, one figure person A who gives instructions to everybody around him. A gives instructions to B, C, D, E, F and G. So therefore it is called wheel and spoke. There is no scope of any kind of feedback going back to the A, right? And I don't think A is in the kind of hierarchy where he will take in suggestions. So he just delivers instructions and that's about it. Now here you have a very interesting one. Okay. This is called a star network. You have A here, B here, C, D and a E. So what happens is communication happens in all possible ways. Right? This is called a star network. So it will be easy for you to remember the diagrams and what they mean. It will be easy for you to remember and write your answers. So that will help you greatly in not mixing up the networking, the network of communications. Now, I'm going back to the sharing of my screen. Yeah. Yeah, here we are. Oh my, from the beginning. Yeah, so that's from the current slide. Oh. Just give me a minute. I'll just scroll it down. Yeah. Yes. Here we are. So we were just doing network in communication. And I'm going to give you 2 minutes to write down these networks. I've shown you the diagrams. You must be able to recall. So that is visual communication where you look at the picture and then you recall what the network is about. And I want you to fill it up here very quickly. And I give you maybe 1.5 to 2 minutes to fill it up. You want me to say it again? I will. So we start off with vertical, circuit, chain of command, wheel and spoke, and star network. Quick, write it down. So that will be your notes too. I am also helping you to write your notes in a methodical, sequential way so that you don't have to worry about what you missed or what you've done kind of things. With a date, if you have these notes down in your notebook, it's easy for you at a glance. You will remember, recall all that you have to learn for your exam. Done? 3, 2, 1. I move on. Now this is vertical network. I showed you the diagram. Please remember, recall. If you have your study material by your side, you can even look at the images that are there in the study material. It will relate to whatever we have done just now. What is a vertical network? The vertical network is a formal network. It is usually between a higher ranking employee and a subordinate. In this two-way communication, immediate feedback is possible because the employees might say, yeah, this is great, this will work well, kind of, or the senior, the boss might say, no, that's it and that's the way, kind of thing. So immediate feedback is possible. So the vertical network is a formal network. It is usually between a higher ranking employee and a subordinate. In this two-way communication, immediate feedback is possible. I give you 2 minutes to read through this and I'm going to test you now. Quick. Yeah? Now, let's look at this. Fill it up quickly and let's see how much you are able to recall. I give you 2 minutes because there are not very many blanks here. Three, 2, 1. Now check your answer. See if you've got them right. So the vertical network is a formal network. It is usually between a higher ranking employee and a subordinate. In this two-way communication, immediate feedback is possible. And that's about vertical network. I hope you remember the up arrow and the down arrow, and the box on the top has the the supervisor, and the one at the bottom has subordinate. So that's vertical network. Okay. Now this is circuit network. Recall the diagram. It goes in a circle. When two persons communicate with each other, sending messages and feedback, they form a communication circuit. Therefore, it is known as circuit network. The two people interacting can be colleagues placed at the same hierarchical level in the organization. Look at the spelling of hierarchical. Okay, you mustn't make mistakes with such spellings. So when two persons communicate with each other, sending messages and feedback, they form a communication circuit, and this is called circuit network. Therefore, it is known as a circuit network. The two people interacting can be colleagues placed at the same hierarchical level in the organization. Okay, circuit network. And I give you 2 minutes to read through this. See, the purpose of doing it with exercises is to help you remember, recall and write your answers well for the examination so that you get the best scores. Also, taking down notes along with the lectures, one glance at it will help you recall the whole thing. You don't have to sit late night and study, all night. to see that you score well. Following the class itself will help you do it beautifully. Now, complete this exercise. I give you 2 minutes again. So this is circuit network. So that's 3, 2, and a 1. Now check your answers. See if you have all the answers correctly. See, the whole exercise of having these lectures is to help you self-direct your learning, and we make you responsible for your learning. You learn well if you have the passion and the interest for it, and we are there to guide you, right? So this is called self-directed learning. We facilitate the learning, and it is up to you to be responsible for the learning. So I give you the exercise. I also tell you, look, this is the answer. Check your answers if you are right. So check your answers. If you have not been right, strike them off and write the right answer there. Fine? 3, 2, and a 1. Now I go back to this exercise to show you if you have filled up all of them correctly. Done? Now we move on to the next network. That is chain network. Chain network, I told you, it's a cascade program. A cascade is going down, 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 down at a regular level. The communication pattern that follows the chain of command from the senior to the junior is called the chain network. It goes like a chain, A tells B, then B tells C, C to D, E to E, and E to F, F to G. So it goes like a chain, and that's called chain network. Communication starts at the top, like from a CEO, and works its way down to the different levels of employees. The supervisor, manager, CEO gives commands or instructions to those working under him or her in the organization. B, C, D, and E, F, G are the subordinates to A in the organizational hierarchy and receive commands from A. The chain network often takes time and communication may not be clear. There is also a big disadvantage in this kind of network where the feedback is not immediate. Lot of misinterpretation, misunderstandings might happen because the communication depends on another person. It is never direct. Okay, the supervisor or manager or the CEO gives commands or instructions to people working under him directly. So B in turn takes to tell it to C. C in turn gives it to D. Same way with E, F and G. Now, what A has told B may not be the same things as B would tell C. There might be a little twist and a turn here, and it's like the Chinese whispers, right? The game that we play. It might take a totally new thing, totally different from what A had said. So there are a lot of chances for a misrepresentation or a miscommunication. Therefore, companies or organizations don't prefer this kind of networking nowadays. I repeat, the communication pattern that follows the chain of command from the senior to the junior is called the chain network. Of course, the vertical and the circuit also had communication flowing from the senior to the junior. But what is different here? It goes down like a cascade, one after the other according to the rank. The supervisor, the manager, CEO gives commands or instructions to those working under him. So A gives to B, B gives to C, C to D, D, F, G, and it's a kind of chain. And what comes back we don't know how it will take a turn, what kind of communication has happened, whether the person who has listened to has heard the instruction well, what are the instructions. So working in an office might make such networking difficult for understanding and implementation. So this is not a very preferred network in organizations today. So that's called chain network. Not that it is a not preferred network, but because it goes like a chain. Immediate feedback is never there, and it goes only based on the hierarchy, and the subordinates only receive commands. They don't have a choice to give a feedback, right? Now let's look at, I give you 2 minutes time for this because this goes long and winding. I will give you 3 minutes time to read through this quick. Yeah, 3, 2, and a 1. Now, look at this. I'm going to give you full 5 minutes to read and fill it up properly. Quick. Yeah, 3, 2, and a 1. I hope you finished. Now, check if your answer is right. See if you have filled them up correctly. Yeah, 3, 2, and a 1. Now, wheel and spoke network. The name itself suggests what it means, right? The wheel and the spoke. Now, this is an organization where there is a single controlling authority who gives instructions and orders to all employees working under him or her. All employees get instructions directly from the leader and report back to him or her. It is direct and efficient for a small business or company, but inappropriate way of communication in a large organization with many people. A company with many employees needs more decision makers or nothing would get done. Can a large conglomerate like Reliance or Tata Sons have one person making decisions? Moreover, if the central figure is not competent, the entire business will suffer. Now, let me go line by line. This is an organization where there is a single controlling authority who gives instructions and orders to all employees working under him or her. So that makes it very clear what is a wheel and spoke network. There's only one authority who sends instructions to all his or her employees working under him. And the feedback is also direct. It is direct and efficient because it happens just then and there. And small companies, small businesses, small organizations, it's easier to work like that, where you have only 3 or 4 people or maybe even 10 people. It's easier to have a wheel and spoke network. But in companies like, can a large conglomerate, what is that? Huge companies, a scale of say Reliance or Tata Sons or TCS, right? In such big companies, this won't work because there are a number of employees at different levels, different people, making decisions, pitching in to say this is workable, this is not workable. And therefore, this wheel and spoke networking will not help. Wheel and spoke network is efficient, is good for small businesses and small companies where one person is the authority and he gives instructions to all the others, but the feedback and the response, the reports are just immediate and direct, and therefore they are very, very efficient. It becomes inappropriate when the company or the business is as big as a TCS or maybe a Cognizant or a HCL or a Wipro or Reliance, where one person cannot make decisions. It has to be a group decision where everybody works on consensus, in agreement, where everybody says, yes, this is what will work. What happens in a wheel and spoke network, if the central figure is not competent, is not skilled enough, is not clever, is not wise, the entire business will suffer. So, the wheel and spoke network is efficient, is perfect only in small businesses and small companies. It will not fit in big companies. What are its advantages? Advantages in a small company, the feedback is immediate and feedback is direct. Why is it not okay with big companies? Because one person cannot be empowered with giving instructions to such a big company, to be a huge company. So what happens in a huge company? Wheel and spoke network will not work because they don't entrust one single person with all powers to function. What if the central figure is not competent, is not skillful, is not wise? Then the entire business will suffer. So, such wheel and spoke network will not help big organizations. It is efficient only with small organizations, small companies or small businesses where one person gives instructions and the feedback or the report is direct and immediate. Okay, now we go on to the exercise. I give you first 3 minutes to read through this and then I give you another 2 minutes to fill up the gaps. Quick. Done. Now we move on to the exercise. I give you 3 minutes full to complete this gap filling exercise. As I already said, this is directing you to learn by yourself. We at the Institute are facilitating your responsibility to be better learners and to score the best. Okay? Yeah, fill up now and I give you 3 minutes on that. I also fill up the blanks along with you so that I know that the time given to you is just right. Okay? Not more, not less. Okay? Now check your answers. 3, 2, 1. Check your answers. See if you've written them correctly. If you have not written it correctly, correct them. That's learning. You learn by trial and error. You don't have to be scared of making mistakes, but what is important is checking your mistakes and writing them perfectly. So it's okay if you made a mistake, tend to correct it, and that is when learning happens. Yeah, 3, 2, and a 1. Now we move on to the next network. This is quite an interesting one. Wheel and spoke, star, chain. This networking in communication has been tested in several papers, past question papers. Therefore, they become very, very important for you. Now look at the star network. The star communication network has multiple channels of communication open between all members. So they work like friends. There is no hierarchy there. This network propagates group communication and is essential where teamwork is involved. So whichever organization believes in teamwork, it is star network that is followed, where nobody offends anybody and nobody dominates anyone. The members communicate and exchange information with each other freely and without hindrance or hesitation. Nobody is scared of the other person because they all understand that they are working as a group, as a team. So they can exchange information freely without any inhibition or hesitation, without a fear of being questioned, without a fear of being judged. Okay, so that is star network. And of the 5 networks, which do you think is the most preferred? It is the star network. What are its advantages? It can work in a big organization. It works well in a big organization. It doesn't depend on hierarchy. It doesn't give space or room for misinterpretation or miscommunication. Everybody in the team is free to talk, ask and suggest. There is no hindrance or hesitation because they all understand it is non-judgmental. They can feel free to say what will work in an official setup. So, going back to the star network. Star communication network has multiple channels of communication open between all members. They can simply walk into the cubicle to say, look, this is great, let's follow this. And the other person, if he is convinced, they join together to say, yes, this is going to work. And as a team, they work. And that's how big organizations function to their own benefit. This network propagates group communication and is essential where teamwork is involved. Today, all MNCs, all big organizations, all big companies swear by Star Network. They follow only Star Network because it facilitates easy communication, it facilitates better working within the office, outside the office, and people stop being critical or judgmental of the other person. Therefore, Star Network is considered to be most effective in big organizations. This is quite in contrast to Wheel and Spoke Network, where it works in a limited fashion. The members communicate and exchange information with each other freely and without hindrance or hesitation. I repeat, you remember the diagram that I drew? It's a star plus going round also, so that everybody is covered, everybody has a chance to speak, everybody has a space to function in the team. The Star Communication Network has multiple channels of communication open between all members. This network propagates group communication and is essential where teamwork is involved. The members communicate and exchange information with each other freely and without hindrance or hesitation. Now, I give you 2 minutes to read because this is a very, very short description, and then we move on to the exercise. Yeah, done. So now we go to the exercise. The Star Communication Network has completed. I give you 2 minutes because this is quite a short one and it's quite easy too. Done? 3, 2, 1. Now, check your answer. Three, 2, and a 1. Now, I move on to the next one. Now, this is the next exercise. I want you to quickly match the networks and what they mean very quickly. See if you can match them without making a mistake. Done? Now, your feedback is important for me and therefore you must fill your feedback form while I answer your questions. Right? I'm going to the questions now. Let me look at your questions. I stop sharing. Yeah. What is the advantage of the following? Chain, wheels and spoke, star. See, these are networking patterns that every organization follows. Some outdated old organizations, old companies follow the old pattern of, the chain or the vertical kind of networks. But the latest, say for the past 10 or 15 years, it's only been star network because they found that to be very, very efficient. The others all follow hierarchy, which does not help in a pleasant working situation nowadays. Can 2 or more channels be there in single organization? It depends on departments also. See, some departments might have a very wise person who can believe or who may believe in the best possible networking, and he might use it differently. But what is the advantage of networking? You name a company, networking will be there, right? Okay. Simran. I don't know whether there is star networking in CBI. I'm sorry, that's not in my syllabus. Okay. Is case study and practical questions come in BCR? Yes. Why not? That's also important. I have already sent 4 questions, but you will not respond to my queries. What kind of network is best to establish the direct relation? I said that's the star network. I've been repeatedly saying in the organization helps to enhance the business. It is star network that has found to be very, very effective. How to make notes? You write your notes as I say the lecture. I'm giving you time to write down exercises. That is notes good enough for you. In the chain of command, does the information order flow only from top to bottom? Yes. Any feedback can be sent back to superior. It doesn't happen. Even when it happens, it's very, very late. Okay. Ganesh Shankar. Let me get back. Last question of matching. Last question is a star network, right? Across channels. I think that's the one. That's for Srishti. Sanskriti, yeah. You've done it. Vanshika, can we say all other channels are subparts of, not subparts. Star is the best. Star networking is the best. Wheel and spoke comes next. But wheel and spoke will be useful for smaller organizations. The rest of it is a bit outdated. Nowadays people don't go by hierarchies. Nobody wants to be bossed over, you see. And if at all you try to boss, they don't work. Yes, star and diagonal are similar. But networking is different from pattern. Gunjam, please, my query. What's the purpose behind this exercise? Like this will examiner. Neha, I have been saying wherever questions have been repeated in the past question papers, I've always said, therefore this is important. Every topic, subtopic that is there in your study material is important. But wherever I find a topic or a subtopic that has been tested several times, I make it a point to say that this has been important in the previous papers. Maybe it is still. That's an idea for you. Partly combination of all the networks. See, Prapti, it is not comparable that way because networking is common for all networks. That's how they are common. And each one is different from the other. Conglomerate is a company of companies, a group of companies, right? Because of you, time for please tell the answers of matching. Matching, it is so obvious. I will go back to the slide and I'll show you. Doing wheel and spoke network with a. Am I doing wheel and spoke? No. I tell you the explanation. Then I give you the exercises. I ask you to fill it up. Then I tell you, you check it. Where I don't interfere. You check your answers and you see if you are right or wrong. I am not dictating there. Isn't that star? Where each one of you have the freedom to ask questions is star network, right? The feedback is immediate. The response is immediate. It is direct. It's not that somebody else is coming and telling me this is what they told you and another person telling you this is what ma'am said. No. Our feedback and response is just direct and this is star. I will tell the answers of matching before I close. Just give me a minute. Let me look at the questions. Which is more important? See, this is for Tejashree. Which is the most important network for in the exam point of view? Let me tell you, in the past question papers, I have seen star network, wheel and spoke, chain, and circuit that have been tested. Now you have to decide which is the best. Now uploading the PPT, yes, it will be done after my session. Between boss and the subordinates as well. Yeah, it is between two people where you don't have a group of people communicating. Are you not taking my query? Gunjam, what's that? What type of network, if any company is operated from outside? See, anything that we speak of today as regards office or business English or business itself, it's global. It doesn't relate to either it's a big company or a small company. That's the only difference that we think of or talk about. So in that sense, they are all the same globally. Grapevine, conglomerate, I have said, if you're not listening once, I will say it 2 times, but not more than that. Grapevine, I have said it a number of times. Grapevine is official communication outside the office space, where employees gossip about projects, issues that they are facing, about their bosses or about another colleague. And it also helps in sorting out issues. It helps build relationships also. Having a tea with colleagues will help you talk freely. Talking freely is grapevine, and that also relates to the office. Conglomerate is a group of companies. But in STAR, everyone can communicate with each other. Yes, at all levels. That's what we say. Yes, you given between the topics are helpful. Thank you. Didn't answer. Tejasri, I have answered. Miscommunication cannot happen in a STAR network because it's very direct. See, after I present my lesson, you are there to ask me questions. I respond. Where is the question of miscommunication? It doesn't happen. In offline, how can we ask questions? You can post your questions to the in the institute's box, and next time when I open your questions, when I download your questions, I'll be able to see. Interaction between circuit network, no. Where can I get the past question papers? The website has it all. Visual communication is picture, illustration, graph, pie diagram, graphs. Basically, which will give you layers of meaning. It's not like symbols. It's not like the traffic signal which tells you, or the symbol hospital or petrol bunk symbol. It just means that. There are no layers of meaning in it. Whereas in visual communication, when I post a graph, you have to see what the graph is about, what is x-axis, y-axis. You must also find out what is going up, what is coming down. Why has it happened? What is the cause? What is the result? How can you rectify it? All these questions are answered in a visual communication. Okay. Formal and informal communication. Formal is official. Informal is non-official. But grapevine comes in between, where communication happens in an informal way in a formal space. That is grapevine. That is outside the office space, but well within the office surroundings. Whereas informal is just talking with your community, friends, relatives, known people. I think I have explained visual communication. Vertical and circuit. Vertical is only from boss to subordinates. Circuit is only between two people. And that makes it, take Farhana, I have said network is used in big company. I told you repeatedly STAR network. Also, I want to appreciate the quick question after a concept. Give a little more time. Yes, I will give you a little more time. In STAR, everyone can communicate. Yes. Questions given between the topics. Thank you. My query didn't answer. Who's the stage? I have answered. Miscommunication cannot happen in STAR network. Yes. Circuit network. People. Yes. Where can I get past papers? Yes. I've said that it's available on the website. Okay. Answer my what is the difference between horizontal and diagonal? Horizontal is between two people. Diagonal is between a number of people across. Diagonal and star network are the same, but diagonal is a pattern of communication. Star is networking. Isn't the communication between us? No, it's star. Difference between formal, I have said that. Visual, I have explained. Grapevine, I have said. Between the topics, okay. Queried in answers, no. Please explain characteristics. Characteristics of communication. Anushka, what is the hurry, Anushka? Please be on the same page along with me. It's much easier. The communication chapter has been divided into 3 parts to facilitate easy learning. You wait for me to complete. Today's session gets over with patterns of communication and networking. We have another session to complete communication. So just wait. My voice tone is a little loud. Some tips to control it. Speak softly. That's the only one. Breaks are given when I'm asking you to copy down the question, asking you to write the answers, asking you to read the paragraph. Right? I have posed 15 times. Look at this. But didn't get solved. Tejas, thanks for giving. Doing Velan's book. Where is Tejas? Out of the 5 network, which is how many times will I say Tejashree? It is only the star network that is considered to be most useful for big companies. For smaller organizations, Wheel and Spoke, people say it's good. Then take place between boss and subordinate. Networking is the way you communicate. Vertical network, yes, from senior to junior. Thank you. The classes are, okay, I have few unclear areas. Okay, thank you. Networks depends on circumstances? No. Networking depends on the organization because organizations may suggest this is the network policy that's followed throughout the organization. So it's the organization that decides what kind of networking you'll do. I have to search for Ganesh Shankar's question now. I don't see it anywhere. What's the meaning of grapevine and conglomerate? I think I have said that. I have said it 3 times. Grapevine is an informal chat within the office premises, surroundings. Conglomerate is a group of companies. I think I've done it. So after I answer, at least say thank you for that, right? Okay, I think I've answered all questions. Yes? And thank you so much for participating. I like your questions and that makes it, helpful for me to tailor my lessons. And please fill in the feedback form that's important for you and for me. For me to tailor my lessons to be effective for you and for you to know that you have learned this stuff. Right? Thank you so much and see you in the next session. Wishing you all the very best. Thank you.